Recently, I discovered that lots of my friends had accomplished all those jobs in lockdown that they wanted to. They'd done the little decorating jobs, they had decluttered, they'd had a good clear out. Everything they wanted to do, they had accomplished. And I hadn't accomplished a single one of the things that I hoped and planned that I would have during lockdown. And so now, having heard that they had, I was determined not to come out of lockdown without having at least done some of them. So I booked a week off, I made a plan, and I wrote down what I was going to accomplish on each day. I got up on Monday, ready to start doing all these jobs, and then I felt a bit tired, so I just said, let me have another hour. And I did, and then I had another hour and another hour, and before you know it, the day was over and I hadn't accomplished a single thing. I was really frustrated that I hadn't done the things I had planned to do that day. But I thought, okay, Lord, maybe my body was a bit tired and I needed the rest, and it's just one day. I'll just have to work a little bit harder over the next 4 days. And so the next day, Tuesday, I woke up. The same thing happened. I just sort of slept throughout the day, in and out of sleep, eating, going back and lying down, and just feeling tired. And that happened throughout the week. And the more the days passed, the more frustrated I got, because I realized I wasn't accomplishing the things that I had intended to do. And come Thursday afternoon, I just said, Lord, why haven't you helped me to stay awake and with energy so I could do these things that I said I was going to do? And I just really felt the Spirit of the Lord saying, well, you were tired, so you needed the rest. And I remembered my grandma used to always say, the only cure for sleep is sleep. And so I reconciled in my mind that week I just needed to rest. And having done so, I went to bed and I woke up the next day, which is now Friday, and I went for a long walk in the morning, which was just wonderful. It was a beautiful day. I came back, I cooked my favorite meal, I turned on YouTube on the telly and danced all over my living room, singing worship songs at the top of my voice. Thank God I've got neighbours who love me. And then I played Scrabble in the afternoon with friends online and won most of them. And then I just went to bed and I felt completely refreshed, having, succumbed to the rest that I obviously needed. And the rest of the weekend, I did more of the same. I had to be easy on myself. It has, after all, been a challenging few months for many of us. We've had to learn how to do things in new ways, whether from home or from work, if we've stayed at work or if we worked from home. And we have had to, some of us, get over illnesses. Some of us are still getting over illnesses. Some of us have had to care for people. Some of us have had to be homeschooling children, something that some of us have probably never done before, and then entertaining them when they weren't at school to keep them busy, having not being able to leave their houses. In the space of 4 short months, we've had to learn how to do church all over again, which has been exhausting for some. And now we have to learn how to reopen church in a safe way. And still, for others of us, we are tired because in this time, life has changed for us irrevocably, and navigating the emotions that have come with that have been exhausting. We've all worked really hard during these months of lockdown and now as we're coming out of it, and we've just had to learn as we've gone along, which in itself has been exhausting. The constant changing, the moving of the goalposts, learning and relearning. And it was the same for the disciples. They had to learn as they went along too. There was a time when Jesus said to them, now come, go out in pairs and go and minister to people, heal the sick, cast demons out. Don't take anything with you. So they had to relearn what they knew as well in a different environment, just like we have to. The scripture tells us that when they finished, this is what it says. The apostles gathered around Jesus and reported to him all they had done and taught. Then, because so many people were coming and going that they did not even have a chance to eat, he said to them, "Come with me by yourselves to a quiet place and get some rest." And now we're in the summer, and it is the typical time that many of us, not everyone, but many of us would get rest at this time in some way. We might go away for holidays, take a break, or just a general slowing down because children are off school and that sort of a thing. But this year it's different. It's not easy to go away, and for some it's not safe to go away, and yet for others, because of the constant changing, whether it's for work, people having returned can't afford to leave work right now, and for some of us in churches who are preparing churches to open again, it just seems like a time when it's not a time of resting and taking some time out. But just like we have had to learn in this time of how to work differently and do things differently, of finding new ways of doing things, perhaps we need to also find new ways of resting. But even if we can't take time out in the way that we normally would, just like I was exhausted, sometimes we don't know that we're tired until we stop. We just sort of keep going before we stop, and when we stop, our bodies just shut down. Before we get to that point, even if this is not a time based on what's going on in your life now, that you can take time out, then maybe ask God to give you some Sabbath moments where you are in each day, or a Sabbath day until you can take time out. But maybe God is saying to you today, either way, just like he did with the disciples, come away with me by yourself and get some rest. God bless you.